Hey, what's going on? It's Tafty from Tafty's Home and Wayward Guitars. Welcome to the Great Guitar Build-Off 2020 Unofficial, and it's neck day. Isn't that exciting? I've been waiting for this for a long time. So it's kind of funny because the neck is actually mostly done when I'm filming this part of the video, because I have to give a huge shout out to Brad Angrove, who put out a video and talked about all the things we needed to do better. I know he didn't say it that way, but he's right, 100%. So I've got more light. I'm trying to be more of a bubbly personality. Unfortunately, the rest of this video, not so much. I'm going to apologize now. It's a little dark. I drone on in spots, but it was late, and I was here by myself, so, I'll take the hit for that. So anyway, like I said, it's neck day. I was able to get it bound. I was able to get it carved. I was horrified when using this. Check that out. So this little tool from Stu Mac is supposed to route binding channels. If you've ever used this, you know that it's horrible at it. It's got this little pivot hoosie on the front of it, and you're supposed to hold on to that, but it also has a bearing, so it's supposed to spin, so I'm not really sure how that's supposed to happen. But there's a lot of this, a potential for a lot of that, while you're routing along with your Dremel. So if you ever do use one of these, go super, super slow. Keep both hands on it at all times. And, just do your best with it. Like I did. As a little preview, there it is. I don't know if you can see the binding from there. Probably not, but you get the idea. Ooh. Well, whatever. So, the first thing up is going to be the footage from the night that I put the binding on and routed the channel. The next thing after that is I'm going to get right into the carving, and I'll show you the carving tools that I use. Mostly a Shinto, as probably as any of you could guess if you've ever used one. They're unbelievable. And yeah, we end up with this. Exciting. Come on back. All right, welcome back. I'm just going to go ahead and try to throw that footage together from last night where I routed the channel and put the binding on. That was nerve-wracking. I would say if you planned on binding your neck, plan it from the beginning and get a fingerboard that is not radiused and do it on your router table. All right, I think I've got everything I need here. This bind all glue. I've used this before. This works really good. Got my binding, got my tape, got my heat gun for when I come to the corners. Might as well get started. All bound up. So tomorrow we will scrape the binding, get it close. Doesn't have to be perfect yet. Most importantly, we'll get this neck shaped. Yeah, you can tell. I can't talk. It's getting late. Alrighty then. I'll see you in the morning. See, that was fun, right? I said. No. Alright. Let's get this ready. Here we go. Come on. All right. I have to say, I'm after all the horrific stuff that went on last night trying to bind this thing, it actually came out pretty good. I'm happy with it. All right. Got my card scraper. This will make short work of this binding. I'm just gonna, like I said, I'm gonna scrape it down flush, close to flush. And that way I can start marking out the facets that I'm gonna use to shape my neck. I'm also not sure right now what the thicknesses are at the 1st fret and 12th fret. I want it to be about 0.85 at the 1st fret, 0.9-ish, 92, 95, somewhere around there at the 12th fret. Isn't that an awesome sound? So there we've cleaned it up. Whoops, there we go. And yeah, now I'm going to get the sides. I'm done. It's good. All I really got left is the end here. That. Yeah, I think I'll leave the rest of that to some sanding. All right. We are going to give this a quick sand with the beam. I'm happy with that. Good with that. All right. All right. So, facets. There are a ton of videos on YouTube showing you how to lay these out. Honestly, the best one I've seen is from a YouTube channel called Fletcher's Instruments. Look that one up. I'll try to maybe put a link to that. He has probably the best description on how to lay out facets and shape a neck. Easiest to follow anyway. I'm going to give you a brief summary here of how to do it. Your results may vary. Like I said, Fletcher Handcrafted Guitars, I think is the name of the channel. I am going to try to put a link to that. He gives. I got my original notes here from when I watched it a few years ago. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to mark the first fret. And then across the back. And that is our first fret. Okay. We're going to do the same thing to the 12th fret. All right. And connect those. Beautiful. Next measurement I have to get is 5 millimeters on either side of this line, and those start our facet lines to go down the neck. Now on Fletcher's channel, he uses calipers. So that's what I'm going to do. 5 millimeter. Either side. This is going to get tough because this is in the walnut, and it's going to be kind of dark, but that'll be fine. So 5 millimeters either side of that line is how it was described to me. All right, those are almost impossible. Then we're going to go to 10 millimeters, 10.000-ish, 9.99. Either side of the center line on the 12th fret. So that's 5 millimeters at the first fret, 10 millimeters at the 12th fret. Then we are going to join those. All right. So, I want to get my notes dirty. So then, for the heel, we want 85 millimeters up from the bottom, and that's our flat part of our heel. So let's do that. That'll be fine. And that is our heel. All right. All right. Then we go 35 millimeters up from there. Across our center line. And that is our transition. All right, headstock transition. Now, one thing I haven't done yet is a rounded transition. So, I always wanted to try that. So why not now, in the middle of a build competition, correct? Correct. So I think I'm going to do that. I'm just going to I'm just going to line my compass up with the edges of the scoop in the bottom of the headstock. And I'm going to say, there it is. What do you guys think? I've never done a round one. I mean, I've done volutes before, and then those are round, so I guess that's one thing, but yeah, let's give it a try. What's the worst can happen? Now, the way this was explained in that video was 2/3 of the way up the neck we want to make a line. So, let's give it a try. All right, well, we've got about 30 millimeters, so that's going to make it easy. We're going to go 20. So 20 millimeters up. Make another line down here at the 12th fret. And connect those. Beauty. Okay, let's get this side. 20 mil. All right. So here's how it goes. I know it's hard to see the lines on the back. Sorry about that. It's hard for me to see them too. Basically, we've got these facet lines. And we're going to be removing wood from this line to that line. And that's our first facet. Then from there, it just kind of, you jump onto each line and you take wood off, and eventually you end up with a round neck. And when I shape the heel and the headstock, I'm going to try to stay to that smiley face right there, happy headstock. And I've got this pointed transition, which is kind of Fender style here. I'm going to be doing all my carving right here because this is the best place in my shop to do it. I hate getting my bench to be a mess, but sometimes you make sacrifices. Carving tools. This might be the single greatest one ever made. Now, I know a lot of you guys probably have these. This is a Shinto rasp. This thing can take wood off real fast. And it does it in a relatively clean manner. So I like that. This is my go-to. This is a go-to for a lot of people. I am not unique in that. Then I got a couple of these Dragon rasp files. This is the larger, coarse version. This is really good for roughing out the transitions, headstock, and the heel. This is a smaller version of the Dragon rasp. This is a fine version. Gets into the nooks and crannies really well when I'm honing out the fine details and the transitions. And this is just a half-round bastard I've had forever. And man, I love this thing. It's definitely the last file I go to as far as, you know, I do all my rough shaping with these. It's a lot finer. It does a great job at getting rid of the carving marks, the scratches that these leave. Plus, it's, you know, it's round on one side, so I can still get into the transitions with it somewhat. So that's it. I mean, yeah, it takes a lot of wood away quick. I love this thing. All right, here's the thing. This is probably going to shake the camera. You get the idea. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to bring you guys back in when some spectacular stuff happens. You can see I took off a huge chunk of wood there. I used the coarse side to get as close to the lines as I could, leaving the lines. And then I flip it over to the medium side to kind of smooth it out just a bit. All right. Now to this side. So I've got these two facets done. The next thing I have to do is take this one and take this one at the back of the neck and bring those in and almost start to round this over. All right, now that I got this roughed in, I think I'm going to work on the thickness of the neck at the 1st and at the 12th frets. Like I said, I want it to be about 0.85-ish at the 1st fret and around 0.95 at the 12th fret. That's what I'm thinking anyway. All right, so I made a couple of marks on each side of the neck. As I shave this down, I'm going to be checking it constantly to make sure I get the right thickness there and there. So I think what I'm going to do is take off as much material as I can with spindle sander, and then I'll go back to shaping it with the files. All right. All right, I want to show you guys something before I move on too far. So I've taken the facet just on the side of the binding, left the tiniest bit of wood because I want to sand up to the binding. I don't want to use the, it's like carving with a chainsaw. But, here we go. So that's what that looks like. Again, I left the tiniest sliver of wood underneath the binding there and brought that around. Now I'm going to do the same thing to this side. All right, in an effort to get as much done today as I possibly can, a little more shaping to do, but I don't want to go too crazy until I get this headstock thicknessed. So I'm going to set up to do that. In order to do that, I got to drill my tuner holes, or at least locate them, because the very last tuner holes are where the transition up to the fingerboard starts. So the first thing I got to do before I shape this headstock is figure out where the tuners are going to be. This is my headstock template. The lower holes, or holes closest to the heel, are the ones for my tuners. So oh, and just in case you're wondering, the upper holes, the classic snakehead telly, the 49 Esquire. That's where those would have been. The tuners go. I'm going to use the thickness of my rule here just to give me a stop line for the router. So I'm going to take material from here. Then once that's gone, we'll go over to the spindle sander and make this transition. I like my headstock to be about 5/8 thick. So we'll go ahead and make our mark again. So I can set my rudder bit depth. Now, this setup here, again, I don't have a rudder sled. This is the closest thing I can come to it. But it works really well, especially with I have a new wide base on this router, so as you saw from the last video when I cut the swoops into the body, it can span a pretty wide area. All right, I am set to go. I got my stop here. I've set my depth same way I did in the last video, and I'm ready to carve. No better time than the present. I don't think a single chip of that went into the dust collection. Wait, did it go? Well, guess. All right. About 5/8 of an inch thick, like that. So now I'm going to set up my spindle sander, and I'll make another line just past the nut. We'll have a truss rod access when we're done, and yeah, man, we'll have a neck too, which is kind of cool. Got this piece of maple as a fence. And basically it's set at the thickness of my headstock, and I'm going to use the drum for my spindle sander to make this transition here. Kind of already started messing around with it just to see. It looks like it's going to work good. So again, this is just barely squeaking by. All right. Alright, it always helps to have other guitars around. Turns out that distance is about 1/8 of an inch from the back of the nut. So, I'm going to take off some more material. The light over here is crap, but there it is. It's funny, is usually you end up with a little ridge here too from the router, but nope, not on this one. Well, today has been exciting. We started with something that looked a little bit like a neck, and have turned it into what is actually a neck. Again, mostly roughed in, but you get the idea. I still got a little bit of shaping to do, some hard edges to take out. But yeah, so the transition came out pretty cool now that you can see it in the light. I dig this. I wasn't sure if I was gonna when I was, setting it up way back, was it the first video, second video? I like that a lot. That's a keeper. Whew. All right. So there it is. I'm not going to be able to fret it today. I'm hungry. So I'm going home and having dinner. I want to thank all you guys for tuning in. I want to thank you guys that have left comments. I've certainly listened to them. I've responded to most of them, if not all of them. It's fun building guitars. So I want to ask that you please like and subscribe, and maybe even hit the bell if I have one. Do I have a bell? I probably have a bell. That way it lets me know that the videos are getting watched. Otherwise I just have to hope they are. Great guitar build off 2020. We're coming to a close. I know I wanted to do some kind of an inlay at the 12th fret, but it's getting towards the end of September. I got to get into finish. Thank you guys. Thanks for hanging out with me. It's been awesome. Join us next time. Who knows what we'll do? Maybe even put them together. No. We're not ready for that. Probably finish next. All right, guys. Thank you.